Okay, I want to know, what is one decision you made, one small, unimportant decision that you made that changed the whole trajectory of your life? And you don't have to explain, you don't have to tell me why. I just want to hear the statement or the question or the decision. Mine is super small. It's as easy as, hey, do you want to come drink on the grass in front of the dorms with us? And I'm not explaining that one, but it did. It changed my whole life.
One small decision you made that changed the whole trajectory of your life.
I was 14, a freshman in high school, and I was determined to be more social. Always been a very shy, introverted kid. My two most important goals for freshman year was to focus and do very well in school, get good grades, and make friends. But I also had a crush on a boy. I honestly didn't even think he knew I existed. So I made a little bit more efforts to talk to him. Honestly was like, I have zero chance, but I may as well get to be his friend. Deep down in my soul, I wanted to be more than just friends, but I was like, we gotta start somewhere. So I made efforts to talk to him, sit next to him. We talked, but it was never like, it was never often enough for me to ever even think it was going somewhere. So I made a small decision, and this small decision changed my whole life. I went to a very small charter school. The population was maybe 40 children in total. So I got as many people's numbers that I could so that we could all go to an arcade and have a fun-filled arcade date. So when I got everyone's number, I got his number too. This was all gonna happen on a Saturday, but on Friday I told everyone that I couldn't go. Since I was the one who kind of planned everything, everybody else kind of dropped out of going as well. But I gotta keep his number, and the rest is history. I go try on wedding dresses tomorrow.
Small, unimportant decision that you made that changed the whole trajectory of your life.
In the summer of 2011, I signed up for a 6-month subscription of Match.com, and they were doing something where if you signed up for 6 months and you messaged a certain number of people every month, you could get a free 6 months. So it's like the end of September, and I've only messaged like one person, and I'm like, oh God, I gotta message some more people. So I start going through my matches, and I just start finding anybody that I think is like even kind of cute. And I messaged this guy who looked cute, but kind of like outdoorsy and athletic and adventurous. And I'm like, he's not gonna be into me. He was totally into me.
Made one small, unimportant decision that you made that changed the whole trajectory of your life.
I went at this. Watching the 10-year High School Musical reunion special on Disney Channel when I was 16 literally saved my life. I remember it so clearly. It was a late game on a Wednesday night. It was 2 days after a snowstorm. It was dark out. Me and my brother were walking out the door to go to our school's basketball game for a theme, a big game, covered in stuff already, decorated, face paint, whatever. My mom yelled back, oh my God, the High School Musical reunion just came on. Didn't you want to watch this? I'll record it, go to your game. And I was like, no, I feel like I should watch it right now. My mom's like, no, I can record it, go to your game, have face paint on. My brother's like, really? You're gonna, like, we're outside, we're in the driveway, you're gonna go back inside? And I was like, I feel like I need to watch it right now. Like, I don't know why, but I need to. My brother went to the game. He got in a car accident on the way there. He flipped his car. The passenger side hit a tree, completely smashed into the passenger side, like not an inch of room. My brother was fine. He crawled out the back, not a scratch on him. I would have been dead.
One small, unimportant decision that you made that changed the whole trajectory of your life.
Back in 2014, I was 23 years old and I decided to go back to school for film, and I had no idea how to pay for it, and I read these 3 books and it changed everything. The first one, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, What the Rich Teach Their Kids About Money That the Poor and Middle Class Do Not. I was like, okay, cool, I could potentially have money. Then I read this book, The 4-Hour Work Week, and I was like, oh, it's possible to have an online business where I could work part-time and go to school full-time. And then I decided to go to a Rich Dad seminar to learn about stocks and real estate. Like a seminar, it was a free seminar from the guy who wrote this book. During the seminars, back in 2014, one of the presenters went off script for a few minutes and talked about how his daughters were reselling stuff on Amazon. And I thought, that's interesting. So I went home, went on Amazon to find a book about that. And here it is. I read this. And since then, I've sold over $2 million on Amazon. Just because a guy spent 5 minutes talking about it at a seminar.
Made one small, unimportant decision that you made that changed the whole trajectory of your life.
So July 7, 2011, I worked at a daycare. There wasn't that many kids, so I decided that I'm going to go home.
So I leave, I find out it's my friend's graduation party I didn't think I was going to be able to go to. So I drive out to Ocean City, I go to my friend's party. There's this guy there, he's freaking awesome, but I have a boyfriend, so I'm like, listen, he's like, no worries, but we get along really well. I go to leave, I lock my keys in my car. The next morning, after I finally got my keys out, we leave again. I realize I'm lost, so I Facebook stalk this guy. I'm like, listen, you're 5 cars ahead of me. I don't know where I'm at. He's like, no worries. So he helps me get to where I need to go. I go home, he goes home. He texts me, he's like, listen, I know you got a boyfriend, but you're freaking awesome. If anything ever happens, just like hit me up, think of me. So I'm like, okay, bet. So I go to work. This lady's like, listen, if you leave your boyfriend, what are you out? Like a crappy boyfriend that treats you like crap and you're always depressed and he cheats on you? So I break up with my boyfriend. Long story short, I end up dating this guy. We get married. We have 3 kids and we've been together 10 years. It's fantastic.
Made one small, unimportant decision that you made that changed the whole trajectory of your life.
December 31st, 2015. So for New Year's Eve, my friends and I decided to get dressed up and go bar hopping downtown for the holiday. We ended up about 11 o'clock at a little bar that didn't have a ton of people in it. And my friend was messaging this guy that she had known on Tinder for like 3 months, and they had never met in person. They had never brought it up. They'd been talking daily, but they just hadn't had the chance to yet. And he was being super obvious, saying like, oh man, I wish I had plans tonight. What you and your friends are doing sounds so fun. And so we all start to get drunker and drunker, and she's still messaging this guy. Well, she ends up going to the bathroom at about 11:30. So I grabbed her phone and I texted the guy the address of the bar that we were at. And long story short, I am getting married to him. So that's pretty fun.
What is one decision you made, one small, unimportant decision that
I remember the exact moment when I made an inconsequential decision, so small that changed the entire trajectory of my life. It's back in 2014. I was starting to buy rental properties, got my first one that's super low income, $55,000 property. I was like, let's see how this works. The day before closing, I get a call from the seller wanting me to switch over my direct deposit information to Section 8. I didn't know it was a Section 8 tenant. I knew that they were paying $1,300 a month on a $55,000 house, and I knew that I was going to make $900 a month in cash flow, but I had no idea that it was from Section 8. So I had the chance to back out, but I decided, no, let's go ahead and move forward with it. And obviously, haven't looked back since. I have almost 400 units. Over 300 of them are Section 8. And I just learned how to streamline the process, learn about the inspections, learn about how everything worked with Section 8. And it turned out to be the best life-changing decision that I've ever made. So there's that.
one small, unimportant decision that you made that changed the whole trajectory of your life?
Story time. Me and my siblings grew up in the hood, like come inside when the street lights turn on type hood. And we also had one of them janky ass doors that you could only open from the inside. Well, one day me and my 2 younger siblings are home alone. We get bored. We decide we want to go play outside. After a couple hours, we want to go back inside, but can't get back in because once the door's shut, it only opens from the inside. Keep in mind that I'm the oldest of the 3 of us, and I'm 7 at this time. So what does a 7-year-old do when they can't get back into their house? They go ask the neighbor. The neighbor found it odd that 3 kids who were all under 8 were even home alone to begin with, so she called the police. They finally found my mom on a bender. All 3 of us got taken away, put into foster care, and eventually adopted. All because we decided to play outside.
One small, unimportant decision that you made that changed the whole trajectory of your life.
A good one for this. Doing a random act of kindness and buying a stranger a ticket to enter an art gallery. I went to the Norton Art Gallery in Florida, and behind me in line was this young guy who was really cute. I found out that tickets were only going to be $5 when I originally thought that they were $10. So I told the lady that was selling the tickets I wanted 2, one for me and one for my friend behind me. The lady at the desk thought it was really nice that I was buying him a ticket, and she even said so. But I was like, no, it's cool. He's going to buy me dinner later. Well, we walked away from the desk. I gave him the ticket and I said, hey, I was just kidding. I just wanted to do a random act of kindness. And this handsome man turned to me and said, I don't know about buying you dinner later, but I am a professional chef and I would love to make you dinner sometime. What? 7 years later, we're married with 2 kids.
one small, unimportant decision that you made that changed the whole trajectory of your life?
So 3 years ago, I decided to go on a solo trip to Italy for no other reason than I felt a pull to go on a solo trip to Italy. I did Venice, Florence, and Rome, but at first I was only planning on staying in Florence for 2 days. So a couple months before my trip, I'm working at my job in New York. And this lady comes in. I'd never seen her before. I never saw her again, but it turns out that she had lived in Florence for a couple of years. We're talking, she's telling me how great Florence is, how much she loved it. And that night I decided to go home and change my trip so I would come to Florence for 3 days instead of 2, and I would come a day earlier than I had originally planned. So my trip comes. It's my first night in Florence, a day earlier than I had originally planned. And I decided to go to a jazz club that a friend recommended. And in the jazz club that night, I met Dario. We spent my 3 days in Florence together. We were long distance for a year. He moved to New York for a year, and then in January, we decided to move back to Italy together. I started a new career. I started TikTok. And I am 1000% going to marry this man. And all because I decided to come to Florence for 3 days instead of 2.